I am a 32-year-old software engineer from Boston whose life was turned upside down by a simple sentence. For 3 years, Natalie felt like home to me. We had plans, dreams, and what I thought was an unbreakable bond. Then one day, during the moment I needed her most, she looked me straight in the eyes and said those words I will never forget. "You are not my priority." That sentence changed everything. I vanished from her life completely. Now, months later, she is broke homeless and desperately begging for my help. Before I tell you how I went from almost proposing to completely vanishing from her life, drop a comment telling me where you are watching from, and hit subscribe if you have ever had to walk away from someone who took you for granted. Before meeting Natalie, I had built a successful career as a software engineer for a tech startup in Boston, but my personal life felt empty. Long hours coding left little time for meaningful connections. My apartment was spotless but sterile, more like a hotel room than a home. Friends tried setting me up on dates that went nowhere, and dating apps led to surface-level conversations that fizzled after 1 or 2 meetups. Everything changed at my college friend Mark's housewarming party. I almost skipped it, preferring to debug some code instead, but Mark insisted. The moment I walked in, I spotted her by the window, camera in hand, capturing the Boston skyline at sunset. Her name was Natalie, a marketing specialist who had just moved from Chicago for a new position. "That angle won't work," I said, approaching her. "Too much reflection. Try from over here." She raised an eyebrow, amused rather than offended. "You, a photographer amateur. At best," I admitted. "But I know this city's light." We spent the rest of the party talking about photography, hiking trails around New England, and our shared love of Thai food. She was ambitious, charismatic, and her laugh made something long dormant in me stir to life. We exchanged numbers, and by the end of that week we had our first date at a small Thai restaurant in Cambridge. What made our relationship work initially was the perfect balance. We both valued our independence, but craved connection. Weekdays were often busy with our respective careers, but weekends became sacred time. We explored hidden hiking trails in the White Mountains, took cooking classes together, and spent rainy Sundays alternating between my photography tutorials and her marketing strategy sessions. After 1 year together, moving in felt like the natural next step. We found a 2-bedroom apartment in Somerville with enough space for both a home office and a small darkroom I had always wanted. Combining our lives was surprisingly seamless. Her colorful throw pillows softened my minimalist furniture. My technical organization systems helped streamline her creative chaos. We established routines that respected both our needs: morning coffee on the balcony before work, taking turns, cooking dinner, weekend adventures, planned a month in advance. I supported her through a challenging project that could have derailed her career, staying up late to help rehearse presentations and bringing food when she forgot to eat. She did the same when my startup went through a tumultuous acquisition, providing both emotional support and practical networking connections that helped secure my position. Meeting each other's families further cemented our bond. My parents adored her energy and ambition. Her family welcomed me warmly during holidays in Chicago. We started talking about marriage, maybe children in a few years. I began setting aside money each month for an engagement ring, researching diamond cuts during lunch breaks. But looking back, the warning signs started appearing around our 2-year mark. Natalie received an opportunity to join a prestigious marketing firm with higher pay, better benefits, and significant travel requirements. I encouraged her to take it, believing our foundation was strong enough to weather some time apart. The subtle shifts began gradually. First, it was just delayed text responses, then rescheduled date nights. Her new position connected her with high-powered executives and creative directors, expanding her social circle to include people who lived very different lifestyles than ours. Weekend hiking trips were replaced by networking events I was sometimes invited to but often felt out of place at. It is just until I established myself, she would say, kissing me quickly before rushing out to another industry dinner. This is how people succeed in marketing. I made excuses for her behavior, telling myself this phase would pass. When she missed my company holiday party to attend a last-minute client meeting, I defended her to my colleagues. When she forgot our anniversary until I mentioned it the day after, I convinced myself it was the stress of her new position. The physical distance was challenging, but the emotional withdrawal hurt more. Conversations that once flowed effortlessly became surface-level updates. Intimacy became scheduled, rather than spontaneous. Her focus shifted increasingly toward career advancement, while our relationship moved to the back burner. My friends noticed before I allowed myself to. My best friend Jake pointed it out during a rare guy's night while Natalie was on a business trip. When was the last time she asked about your day, or your dad's health? He asked carefully. I dismissed his concerns, but his words planted a seed of doubt I couldn't ignore. The woman I fell in love with, who once celebrated my smallest victories and comforted my defeats, was slowly becoming a stranger, prioritizing networking contacts over our connection. The truth I had been avoiding crashed into my life on a Tuesday afternoon. My phone rang while I was debugging code, my mother's name flashing on the screen. Her voice trembled as she told me my father had collapsed at work and was being rushed to Massachusetts General Hospital. Possible heart attack, she said. I left work immediately, calling Natalie from my car. She answered on the fourth ring, ambient noise of an office in the background. Hey, I cannot really talk right now, she said, voice low. Big client meeting prep. Dad is in the hospital, I said, my voice cracking. They think it might be his heart. I am headed there now. There was a pause then. Oh no, that is terrible. Keep me posted. Okay, can you meet me there? I really need you right now. Another pause. I have this dinner tonight with the VP of Client Relations. It has been on the books for weeks. Crucial for the Anderson account. Natalie, my dad is in the hospital. I know, and I am so sorry. I will try to stop by after dinner. Okay, text me updates. I am sure he will be fine. The call ended, and I sat in hospital parking garage, feeling completely alone. For 6 hours, I sat with my mother in the waiting room while doctors ran tests. I sent Natalie updates that received brief, delayed responses. Dad was stable, thankfully not a heart attack, but a severe arrhythmia that would require ongoing treatment. It was nearly 11 at night when I returned to our apartment. Natalie wasn't home yet. I sat in the dark living room, emotionally drained, until I heard her key in the lock at 12:30. Hey, she said, surprised to see me sitting there. How is your dad? Stable? Not a heart attack, thankfully. My voice sounded hollow even to my own ears. That is great news. She set down her purse, kicked off her heels. The dinner went really well. I think we have the account secured. Something in me snapped. My father could have died today. Her smile faltered. But he didn't. And you said he is stable. I needed you there, Natalie. Not for him, for me. She sighed, running a hand through her hair. Ezra, you know how important this account is. Your dad is fine, and you are a grown man. Did you really need me to hold your hand in a waiting room? Is that what you think? Support is hand-holding. I have been there for every important moment in your career for 3 years. That is different, she said dismissively. Those were planned events. This was an emergency that turned out fine. And if it had not turned out fine, if he had died while you were networking over cocktails, her expression hardened. That is not fair. I have my own life and responsibilities. And where do I fit into those responsibilities? Where on your priority list am I? The words that came next shattered everything. I am sorry, Ezra, but my career has to be my priority right now. We are not 22 anymore. This is how adults build successful lives. Your family expects you to drop everything at a moment's notice, and that is not realistic in my world. I stared at her, truly seeing her for the first time in months. Your world, I repeated. Not our world anymore. She backtracked slightly. You know what I mean. We are just in different places right now. Your job is stable, mine requires sacrifice to advance. I need you to understand that. I slept on the couch that night, unable to share a bed with someone who had made it so clear where I stood in her life. Not her priority. Not during a family emergency. Not ever, it seemed, unless it was convenient for her. The next morning, Natalie acted as if our conversation never happened. She kissed my cheek before leaving for work, mentioned something about dinner plans that night, completely oblivious to the fundamental shift that had occurred. As I sat alone in our apartment that morning, a calm clarity washed over me. I deserved better than this. I deserved someone who would drop everything in a crisis, who would consider my needs and feelings as important as their own. The relationship I thought we had was gone, if it had ever truly existed at all. I reviewed the past months with new eyes, recognizing all the times I had made excuses for her neglect. All the canceled plans, the half-attention during our rare time together, the way her eyes constantly checked her phone for more important messages. I had been slowly erased from her priority list, and it was time I accepted that reality. My decision formed quietly but firmly: I would leave. But I would protect myself emotionally in the process. No dramatic confrontation. No chance for her manipulative explanations or false promises of change. I would simply remove myself from an equation that no longer valued me. I spent the next week planning carefully. During lunch breaks, I searched for a new apartment, finding a small one-bedroom in a different neighborhood. I secured important documents, transferred my portion of our shared account to my personal one, and quietly packed a suitcase with essentials that I stored in my car trunk. Jake offered his spare room in the interim and helped me coordinate the logistics. "Are you sure about this?" he asked. No warning at all. "She did not warn me when she decided I was not her priority," I replied. "I am just acting accordingly." Natalie announced an overnight business trip to New York scheduled for the following Tuesday. It was the opportunity I needed. The moment her rideshare pulled away from our apartment, I sprang into action. Jake arrived with his truck, and within 4 hours, everything that mattered to me was gone from the apartment we had shared. I left behind furniture we had bought together, kitchen appliances, and the television. I took only what was undeniably mine, personal items that could not be disputed. The last thing I placed on the kitchen counter was my key alongside a check for my portion of the rent through the end of our lease agreement. No note. No explanation. She had made her priorities clear. Now I was making mine clear too. I blocked her number, removed her from all social media,